Hey everyone, Samuel here at Sovereign Kennels. Today I have Thor on the grooming table. We are going to do a three-part series for you. So today we're going to do his saddle. We are going to clean up his face, come here Thor, his face and his bib. And then I'm actually going to shave him top to bottom. So the first part of this video is really going to focus on his neck, coming down over his withers, across his saddle, down through his croup. The tools we're going to use today are the pin brush, the slicker brush, we need a comb, we need our fine-toothed rake, we need our magnetic stripping knife, and a pumice stone. Alright, so I'm going to situate you guys, the camera, to see from the side, and then I have a camera up over the top as well. So I want you to be able to get a feel, just watch what I'm doing. I'm going to try to explain the best I can, the positioning of things. It's really important, most of all, with your stripping knife. The stripping knife, it's a knife, it's sharp. This has serrated edges. I mean, you can use it to cut a piece of meat if you want. So you have to be really careful when you buy these brand new. They're almost too sharp to use. You want to actually dull them down a little bit. I put them with sand and I just let them dull down with some sand. The more you use them, the more dull they get, but they should stay to a certain sharpness. When you use these, you want to really hold it with your firm hand. I actually place my thumb kind of on the edge of the flat part. You always want to use a nice, steady, long pull when you're using this knife. So this is taking the fuzzies out of their saddle. The Afghan Hound saddle should have a coarser coat than the long side coat. The long side coat should be a long, silky coat. But the saddle itself, coming up into the neck and the facial hair, should actually be a coarser texture. It should not be a soft texture the same as the side coat. So I'm going to stand him up. I'm going to reposition you guys, and we're going to get at it. All right, I got the camera all set up. Let's start working on Thor's saddle. So the first thing is either take your slicker brush or your pin brush. We're going to clean them out, and we just want to brush the saddle. So part of our standard, right, is to have a coarser saddle and softer side coat. So the hair on the saddle should actually have a nice coarser texture to it. He is unwashed right now, so that's going to help kind of pull the hair out. I'm going to just start up here in the top. You can even come all the way into the neck where that shorter hair is. Clean it up and just brush it out. You want to actually continue to brush all the way into your side coat. Get that to lay. You can use your pin brush. And we want to identify where the saddle is. So right now the saddle kind of rises, comes up to the hip. His hips, this other side is really bad. I did this side just a touch already. But you can see on this side he has just a ton of hair all the way down to the pin bone. So his pin bone is right here. So we need to clean up his saddle all the way down to that pin bone, coming into the tail. And we want to make sure that our saddle does not have a rise in it. As we look at our saddle, we want it to come all the way back horizontally and then drop off. So when we look at this, we want to take our rake. First tool is going to be our rake, right? First tool is going to be our rake. The next tool is going to be our stripping knife. So the first thing I do with the rake is I'm just going to start up high. We're going to pull the skin to where it's nice and tight. And then you want to do long strokes. So you can see that this really does pull out a good amount of hair. All of this is hair that wants to come out. So you're just going to take your rake, pull it down. When you get to your hip, you actually want to change the angle and draw down. Same here, all the way across, And what you do to one side of the dog, you're going to do to the other side of the dog. So we're going to pull the skin tight and rake it out. So you can see we start to get lots of hair. We're just going to kind of do this over and over. You don't want to go too fast. You don't want to really grab it and rip the coat out. It's a nice fluid motion. Once you feel like you've gotten most of the top out, you can see here over his spine there's hair. I don't want to rake his spine. I'm going to pull the skin to the side and then rake it. Sorry, buddy. No, we're casting. Sorry about the shadows. My lighting is not perfect yet. But once you do this a few times, you'll notice the saddle really starts to set in. You're going to have the nicer side coat, and then you're going to have this tighter saddle. Now, the transition point on a saddle, for me, is always going to be pretty much the hip. Might be the start of the hip, might be the back of the hip, it might be the center of the hip. That's dependent on each dog, kind of what image you want to make as you're grooming. For him, I'm going to find the center of his hip, and I'm just going to come right down. Okay? We're going to be very careful not to take off the hair below this line, right? So we're setting a line here and setting a line here. This rise needs to come off. We're going to come and just follow that rise. Okay. Just take it down. Follow that hip. And once you've set what I call set your pattern, once you've figured out, sorry, let me move his head for you guys. So there we go. Step this way, buddy. All right. So now you can kind of see a little bit better. This line is a little straighter. It's coming to the hip and coming down. It's not perfect yet, but it's a lot better. Now, we have this huge clump over the shoulders. If you're showing, you don't want a huge clump over their shoulders. It's going to make their wither set look really high. It's going to make a dip right here. So we want to smooth this out. Same thing. You're going to come up here, and you're just going to pull slow and steady. Clean your brush out pretty regularly. And just take it down a bit. So for an Afghan, for the withers, they have a higher wither set than most other breeds. They're not scrunched down in their front, right? They have a little bit more open front. They should have some width to their withers, right? So the way I was taught growing up, 2 to 3 fingers, depending how big your hand is, between their shoulder blades. So I pretty much assume that this is 2 to 3 fingers, right? Almost the same. So one of these for me separates the right side of the body from the left side of the body. Now, you also don't want what we call the cape. So the back of the top not coming down the neck is called a cape. We don't always want the cape all the way down to the withers either. So we can take this and you can start to bring this line up higher and higher. And then you just marry the two. So you're going to marry up here into the neck, all the way down into the top line. You do have to be careful here after the withers, before the vertebrae. There's an appearance of a dip on Afghans. Now, the way that Afghans are built, this is natural, this transition. But with grooming, if you take too much bulk out, you're going to dig a hole, and that's going to make their top line look off. You want to make sure that as you're doing this, you're staying pretty consistent and steady without creating dips. Once you feel really confident that you've gone through with your rake really well, then you're going to take your stripping knife, right? I hold it nice and firm, keep my thumb there, strong, steady. steady strokes. We're not digging in. We're not doing anything like that. But when you put this on, you want to have about almost flat and level. And then just pitch just a little bit up. And we're going to start all the way up high. I'm going to move him so he's not shading it. And then come all the way down. All the way. Now this is getting out all the fuzzies that your rake did not get. This is getting a little bit closer to the skin. You're going to see that finish. Now, excuse me, let me fix him a little bit. Step up. Step up. Trying to get him to stand in the light so he's not shading himself. Here for the saddle transition, I actually grab the saddle and you can pull it towards you and then just rake into it. And you're going to rake into it only on the higher spots. So here where it's a little bit lower, we're okay. But here where it's coming uphill, I'm going to take this down. Right into that side coat. Okay? Just starting to clean this up. You can take this here and pull the saddle into it. And brush it out. Let me get him to turn. The door is behind you, so he's trying to kind of look out that way. Thor, stand. Alrighty. So, we can now see that his saddle line's getting much more defined. Excuse me. We're taking out a lot of the bulk of what was there. His withers are getting better. And you're just going to kind of keep doing this. So, keep it tight and just pull. Okay. All the way down. Now, when you get down here to the croup and to the tail, you can see a lot of this is needing to come off. The standard for the Afghan Hound says that their tail should not be bushy. I'm thinking he looks a little bushy right now, doesn't he? So you can use these like a standard terrier knife. Let me see if you can actually just grab this hair with your thumb and just start slowly pulling it out. Really gently, 3 or 4 hairs at a time. Stop. Stand. Good. Stand. So once you get these really long ones, there's not going to be a whole lot of them. Then you're just going to kind of come back down. Stand. With your rake and just keep raking. So again, you don't want to do small movements. But obviously you're limited in space. You can only pull so far. But start all the way up as high as you can and come all the way through. Okay? Now, places like this, you're going to have to just kind of take your time and pluck it out. Right? And they're not going to love it. You just have to be really gentle. And so I'm just going to go through and I'm going to do all that. Now, one thing that can help you, and because he is a pet, you can use scissors. So I'm going to take stand. And we're just going to trim this up. So, take some of this long hair off. And with thinning shears, some of this really thick stuff, you can just come in, sorry my arm's in the way, and just, it's really not safe. I should say it's less safe to come from the bottom up because they have a little bit of a triangle of skin right here. It is safer to come from the bottom down. But sometimes the angle is not right, so feel where your dog's body is so you know where to put your scissors and you can cut. Step up, step. Thank you. So you can start to see now where we're creating definition of croup, tail, saddle, and side coat. And we're just going to kind of keep working at this. Now, normally this is not a one-time thing. This dog happens to have a really good saddle. He is a very hairy dog, so his saddle gets very hairy very easily, but he has a great texture. Fantastic texture of his saddle, and so when I'm stripping it out, it's really easily pulling that saddle out, and it's leaving this coarser texture. Remember, when you do wash your dogs after you do this process, you always want to wash them because as you're raking, you are raking that hair down into their side coat, and even though you're brushing it out, it still could leave some in and they will mat very easily. So that's why I like to do this before I bathe them. It also, the dirty hair helps stick to the stripping knife and to the rake. I'm going to come over to his other side. Hopefully he'll start leaning this way for you guys. Quit shading it. Now I'm just going to come down his tail. You see I'm doing not huge strokes like I could on the saddle here, right, from top to bottom, but I'm still taking these, at least 4 or 5 strokes. It is not like a terrier where it's very small, right? We're going to do nice long. Now, he has a lot of bulk in his tail, so you can use your rake, but again, be very careful. Maybe just hold it with a couple of fingers and very gently just let pressure clean this up. Their tails have no meat on them. You have to be very careful. Come up the bottom a little bit and just start raking it out. Really cleaning up all the way around. So we have a much nicer looking tail now. If we were going to go show, this is a little bit abrupt of a cut. We wouldn't want to go to a show like this, right? We would definitely want to come in and clean it up. For a dog like this, he doesn't have the best tail in the world. He has a nice curve, which we ask for, but it doesn't ring. And because of that, sometimes these dogs can look like they have a little bit shorter tails. So we want to take the hair back as far as we can on the tail to make it add length, but without making it look like it's manicured, right? So I take my thinning shears and I come up and I just follow the tail. So my blade, the actual blade, is on the tail, protecting the tail, and the cutting part is going to be on the outside. Actually, the blade is cutting. This is guiding it down into it. Thor, stand. So, I'm going to just fuzz this up. And then I'm going to come in. We're just going to keep pulling the hair off. Come around the tail. And I'm going to come all the way up into here. I'm changing that angle from being here out. I'm taking it from here down. All this is now coming off. And you're going to see how this will add length to the tail. And it's starting to look pretty natural, right? So we're not taking off a whole lot. I'm sorry, we are taking off a whole lot, but it's not looking like we're taking off a whole lot when it's said and done. Come here, bud. Yeah, swing that way. There you go. All right, so you can see wispies up high. Let me make sure your camera's still seeing all this. Yeah. So I don't know if you can see these wispies here. We're just going to come in here. We're just going to take them off. Stand, buddy. Stand. And you can really see how it adds a lot of length to the tail. Come here, bud. You gotta stay up here. Now I'm going to take some bulk out right here. Just gently kind of raking out any bulk, any big fluff. Hold on, Thor. I'm going to come on the top. He is really not wanting you guys to see he's shadowing his whole body. I'm so sorry, everyone, if that's coming up in the video all shadowed. Right, so from here, I actually will take my thinning shears and I will just do 1, 2, couple of cuts and make sure to rake it out. And now you can see, stand, that it looks pretty natural. It's not perfect, but it looks pretty natural. And it makes the tail look much longer, right? By cleaning all this up, it's going to clean up that whole angle. It's going to clean up all of this. After your bath, this is going to look a little bit more natural too, because you can see some of the scissor lines now, but after you wash them and blow dry them and everything, it's going to just kind of make that all go away. But that's pretty much the premise of how you're going to do a saddle. So the saddle's pretty easy to manage. You have to stay on top of it. You can't just quit doing it for a while and then come back and do it. We definitely have to keep up on it. Sorry, I'm trying to get you guys a good angle. All right, well, that's pretty much the premise of doing the saddle. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it was informative. I hope the video comes out. I'm very new at this, so I apologize if there's shadows and the way he's standing isn't easy for you to see. I have a camera up here, so I'm trying to do an overhead shot for you as well, and then hopefully the shot on the panoramic, on the horizontal view will turn out really well as well. All right, well, the next video I'm going to do with Thor is going to be cleaning up his face. So we're going to clean up all of this. We're going to shave out his bib, which shaving is for pets only, no showing. But tune back in for that video. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day. See you next time. All right, Thor.